That's me arriving at the house of Marc Simoncini, founder of Meetic, which was sold for 400 million euros in 2011, a judge on the show Qui veut être mon associé, and an investor in the Daphne Fund to boost tomorrow's tech startups. In short, an extremely influential figure in the entrepreneurial world, and I'm going to spend the next 8 days locked up with him in this house to launch a company together. So
the company with Nico is going to work because otherwise we won't do it. So if we do it, it's because it's going to work.
it's a completely unlikely meeting that just gave birth to the biggest video on my channel that you're watching right now. Just imagine for a moment what the mix of our two worlds could create. My experience in coding projects quickly and his experience in building profitable companies. Imagine if we lock ourselves in together for 8 days to launch a company. That's the challenge I proposed to him and that he miraculously accepted. But when I say create a company, it's about creating a company so we don't leave ourselves any other option. It's the choice to succeed. We signed the papers to be officially partners, even though we didn't have any concept at that point. That's actually why, just an hour after arriving at his place, I plugged my PC into his TV. Public visit, and I pitched him 10 ideas that could work. Episode 1, we create a company. Okay. Episode 3, we sell it. And episode 2, we try to make 100k in MRR.
Please.
We picked one. 2 hours later, we were already listing all the necessary steps while walking on the beach.
So first, the very first step, if you want to get started, you have to find a name.
Yes, this place is incredible. To give you a spoiler and set the scene, 6 hours later, so...
I have the photo of the dog.
He told me that Arthur's dog agreed to be the face of our project. It's encore, you have to make it because 8 days. This video is the summary of 8 days of immersion where we literally went through every emotion. It's a breakthrough. It's good, great. You'll follow us in our daily life and reflections. Here are 9 ideas.
Well, we're really in trouble.
Work. For coding in general, we'll use Claude. Meals.
All of that is a distant memory.
Discussion, yeah.
You need to be strong because trouble finds you even when you don't realize it.
And layoffs. If all goes well, we'll have built a company. How can you tell if entrepreneurship is right for you?
Nobody knows if they're cut out for entrepreneurship because the first quality you need to be an entrepreneur, unless you're a genius, right? There are some. But if you're not a genius, you're going to fail. If you're a real entrepreneur, or even just an entrepreneur, after the first failure, you'll start again. You'll get back in the saddle, you'll pivot, and you'll start over to try again. If you're not an entrepreneur, you'll quit after your first failure.
Hello. Hi, Marc. How are you? The trip wasn't too long, was it? It was exhausting. Exhausting, of course. The scenery here is nice, though.
Well, yeah, it's usually pretty nice here, but you see, you'll never want to leave.
That's for sure. Problem?
That's the problem. Come on, let's get settled. I'll show you your room. Go ahead.
The office. We'll get settled, and in an hour, I need to pitch you my first ideas. We can't waste time.
Come on, let's go. We'll be good in an hour.
From this moment, the timer is running. We'll spend the next 8 days together in this house. Well, there are worse things, right? Let's be honest. And because I imagined this video in a kind of reality TV format, to make the experience as accessible as possible, you'll see that we're not going to spend 8 days behind a screen. I'll immerse myself in Marc's daily life, and we'll make the most of this setting to be creative and efficient. You'll see. What are the secrets to success for you?
Well, it's simple. There are two. The first is work. Work. And the second is that to be able to work like that, you have to exercise a lot. Because entrepreneurship is a combat sport that lasts 40 years.
To plan ahead, we should consider what project we want to do. I brought a PowerPoint with 10 startup ideas that share 2 things in common. They are quick to develop and have the potential to be profitable. Like in the show Qui veut être mon associé, I'm going to pitch each of these ideas until we keep the one he feels most confident about. The first idea is a website to fill out your taxes using AI. You know, people who have a fear of paperwork, I got the sense you have a bit of that too. The idea is that you have a platform where you upload all the documents you have. So all your bank statements, things like that, investment statements, all the documents you're supposed to provide for taxes, you upload them to the dashboard and automatically it will pre-fill your tax form for you. Okay. The idea is that we're going to create a knowledge base and have an AI learn from this knowledge base.
The tax code? Do you have any idea how many articles there are in the tax code? No?
Hundreds.
They're this thick. If I read you the tax code, I challenge you not to cry with laughter in 5 minutes. You open it at random and read. I don't think there's an AI capable of doing it without mistakes, so you'll need to have someone checking it behind the scenes.
There are 2 points to define. On one hand, it's whether we can automatically connect to taxes, impots.gouv, which isn't easy and maybe it just gives you a template that you have to fill out yourself afterwards. Well, that's one thing. And the second question is, do we still do a double check by a professional who's there?
I'm surprised that it doesn't exist yet, but what's really surprising is that the government doesn't offer it.
The next idea is in e-commerce. We're making a site for pet lovers, for those who have an animal or know someone who's a fan of their pet. It's a big market. You upload a photo of your pet and AI will imagine your pet in an aristocratic Renaissance-style portrait and you'll be able to receive a painting of your pet at home.
But why limit it to something medieval? Why can't you say, I want my dog in space? Yes?
Yeah, you can do different styles. Here it's just to show, to have a concrete example.
But you feel it physically.
Yeah, you feel it physically, that's the difference.
It's yellow corner of the dog, what?
Next. An alarm clock, so it's a mobile app that uses AI but to give you challenges to wake you up. So I know you're very much a morning person, you have no problem waking up early. That's not the case for me, I have trouble waking up. I've tried all kinds of alarm clocks. I've tried alarm clocks that make you do mental math. And every time I would do the mental math and go back to bed, I would fall back asleep. And actually I thought, imagine you have to wake up and you have to take a picture of your coffee, for example, once it's ready while it's still hot. And so you have a model that detects that the coffee is hot. Well, you don't want to go back to bed once your coffee is already served because after that it'll be cold. So there's the idea of making a coffee, but you could also, for example, make a video where you have to do 10 push-ups. You have to activate the system and do 10 push-ups in front of your phone to turn off the alarm.
To turn off the alarm since it's ringing then?
Well, you can set it so that, okay, I start the action, it stops ringing while you're doing the action, but if you haven't done it, it starts ringing again at the end, you see.
Doing 10 squats wakes you up, nobody falls back asleep after that.
Next idea, I don't think this will resonate with you. But basically there are AI models today that let you create 3D models. These are 3D models that you can print. So I thought, could there be a niche where we create 3D models, print them, and deliver them to people? And I know there's a huge market for people who make characters, like gamers, you know, who have characters in video games. Games like Minecraft, Roblox, Fortnite, and Dofus let you customize your character with clothes and more. You print a physical version of the person's character if they want to keep it as a souvenir, or put it in their setup or as decoration in their room.
Well, I don't know anything about that at all.
You were right. Here are the 9 ideas.
Well, wow, we're in trouble. First, I'd put taxes because that concerns everyone. Then animals, that's super easy and it's funny too. The third, in my opinion, is the characters from Malheureusement.
For me, out of these 3 ideas, is there one that excites you a bit more than the others? Out of the 3?
So, taxes don't excite me, but I think the problem with that one is the suppliers. I think the best idea we can pull off quickly is the dog idea. I think people who have a dog, they love their dog and they want to, and above all, it's doable.
Alright, let's do that. The idea is about a guy in the United States who made tens of thousands of euros monthly with a website where people uploaded photos of their pets. Then, thanks to AI, it transformed the photo into a Baroque, aristocratic-style portrait, and you could receive it framed at home to put in your living room. Our plan is to do the same for the French market, focusing on offering more portrait styles. For example, a photo studio style, a magazine cover style, or even a pop art style like Andy Warhol. In the end, we'll have a real physical product. So here, in this case, it's blurred because I'm filming afterwards, but honestly, it's a really cool gift idea for anyone who's a fan of their pet.
On Monday, I'm picking up my dog. Seriously. I'm taking my car and heading to my dorm, taking the plunge. I'm going to get the dog. Exceptional. Amazing, we're doing well.
Laugh. I already know that some people think it's useless. Some even say, are they really going to use AI to do that? Well, yes, the market is huge. If you think that, you're likely not the target audience. The goal is to position it as a premium product and target those less comfortable with AI. Plus, there are several advantages. First, you can create a personalized gift in just 5 minutes. Because if you wanted to do it by hand, you would have had to find the right prompt, the right AI model, find a site that generates 4K images, which isn't the case with Gemini by default, for example, and also deal with 100 watermarks. Then, find a printer, find a frame. In short, it's doable, sure, but it would have taken you 10 times longer. But also, well, if you plan to get a gift for a friend, you won't be able to take their pet and do a photo shoot with it. You could have offered a photo shoot, but that's not the same as giving a framed portrait for their living room. That's where AI has an advantage. We believe in it, so let's test it. We know our target audience is likely over 30, and our network's strength is our connections to many well-known personalities. Mainly brands that can be honest and help us in this venture, but first we need to brainstorm. On one hand, to find a name for this project, but also to break down this project into a list of all the tasks we need to do in order before we can make our first sales. And we're definitely much more creative when we go outside than when we stay indoors. But how do you succeed in running a business?
You succeed in running a business, First of all, if you succeed in running a business, it means you're good. Because honestly, there aren't any bad people who succeed in running a business, except for those who win the lottery, because succeeding in business means a lot of things. You have businesses that are just breaking even, that last for 15 years, that pay the small salary of the person running them, and that's enough for their happiness, and they've succeeded in their business. It doesn't mean renting jets, jet skis, stinky 4x4s, or big houses by the sea to be successful. Everyone has their own definition of success. Running a break-even, smooth business that doesn't need outside funding and can last is already an incredible achievement. Few companies stay profitable and survive long-term. That's why I always say just having a break-even, smoothly running business is already a big achievement. So first of all, the very first step if you want to get started is to find a name.
It's good for finding names, yeah.
I'm not there, but the problem is that in this specific case, if the project is very specific to a certain universe, it's not the same as if it's generic. Since we don't know much, we assume it will be open to many universes.
We have to be a bit generic.
We need to be generic, so let's find a generic name.
Am I being repeated in it?
So, are you going to do cats? Well,
I think it's still...
yeah. For example, if you say PET scan, it's great, but it's something for cancer. Because it's silly, because you were scanning the dog, it wasn't bad. Petting, like it's painting, but it's painting.
That's not true. Petting, it's not very good. Petting, I think people have painting in mind more. When you say it, petting, painting, well...
It could already be a code name.
It could be a code name. We can change it easily, but at least we have something to call it instead of the animal project.
Painting, that's not bad.
Alright, let's go with Pétain. How long did it take you to come up with Meetic?
I immediately came up with a name called Soon. You know, the promise of something coming soon. Yeah. A friend with an agency suggested the name Meetic for me, but I didn't like it. And we did everything under sound. And 2 days before, I woke up with a start in bed and said, "Are you stupid or what? It has to be called Meetic." So I called the team and said, "We're doing everything." The crazy thing is, Meetic means legendary, like a legendary encounter, but I didn't make the connection between Meetic and legendary.
It's only afterwards that you realize, yeah.
10 years later, everyone had figured out that Mutis was a play on words, except me.
The first step, I think, is to study a bit what has already been done.
Well, you have to scroll through their site to see what's good and what's not. You have to put in the effort. You have to make the same thing, you know. What you need is, when you arrive on the homepage, you have the first photo of the dog, probably the most popular look. And then, you need to find the right engine.
There are two choices. It's ChatGPT and Gemini, yes.
I added, how much does it cost to generate a photo?
It costs $200, okay?
So that's negligible. The problem is finding the printer because he's going to take 80% of the revenue, you know? Between that and shipping, you'll have
I think you might know some people in that field who can handle it. There are plenty.
But I have my printing done in Germany. But it's with a guy who does really, really high quality work, truly top of the line. So it's pretty expensive. They might have a B2B offer, but it comes from Germany, you see.
Adding the Made in France label and featuring it on the website is always a nice bonus.
No, that doesn't matter to us. But people don't care about Made in France. It's like when people ask you if you should work on Sundays. Everyone says no, okay. Do you want to do your shopping on Sundays? Yes, well, yes. So, Made in France is the same. I want to buy it, but it's too expensive. No, so that's just talk. Okay?
Not a criterion. There's the question of price.
That's why you need to check the printer's price and add your margin.
Do you know what the margin should be? Otherwise, it's pointless.
You have to at least double it, so 50, right? That means if you print for $50, the infrastructure costs are zero. After that, you still have marketing costs.
For the marketing strategy, I see quite a few things to do. Something that's pretty simple to do is gifting. It's sending a painting for free to influencers, maybe to friends or relatives who can talk about it with no obligation. Maybe 30 of them will post a story, you know, to talk about it.
If you have 50 big influencers to whom you're going to give something that costs you $50,
we're prepared to allocate up to 1,000 to 2,000 euros for marketing.
Well, here, you're going to put in 5,000 because you really need to invest in marketing.
So, we put in 5,000, 5,000. Here's what the list of all the tasks we need to do looks like. There's a lot of work. We divided the tasks between me and Marc.
Honestly, that's not bad. That's not bad.
I want to teach Marc vibe coding so he can help with the website. But before that, it's time to sit down at a PC for a bit, to geek out, because I still need to start mapping out the technical side of the project and build an initial foundation. I'm currently studying all the technologies we'll need to use. As you can imagine, given the deadlines we have, I'm going to have to use the AI tools that I use in this video series, which allow me to code much faster. I'll use all my development skills to ensure it's optimized, attractive, and secure. The AI won't do everything on its own. I need to tell it what stack I'm going to use, meaning the list of technologies that will allow us to make this project functional. And after quite a bit of time, I found what I think is the perfect stack. The problem is, when I wrote a first base and tried to display it on a second screen, it was already written. It's good because you were great? Yeah, it's totally possible. There's a chat. Well, wait, we'll get to it, right? It sounds silly, but it's true that a second screen makes me about 30% faster. It allows me to have the code on one screen and the result of what I'm doing on a second screen, so I don't have to constantly switch windows. Well, it's okay, it's just a minor issue. I'm concerned this could slow crescendo in the coming days, since entrepreneurship is about solving problems. At least that's how I see it. I can show you the first prototype of our site. It's a basic e-commerce template that isn't meant to be visual yet, but it shows the technologies I've chosen. I promise this is the only technical diagram in this video. After that, I'll just show you the site evolving little by little and be built with the Shopify Hydrogen framework. It's basically a special version of Shopify that lets us develop the site ourselves with React, so it's super fast and we can configure more things than if it were just a regular Shopify theme. And it allows us to use Shopify as a backend to manage user accounts, payments, and inventory. On top of that, we'll need to add a second backend which will be based on Express.js. This backend will be connected to Google's API to use their latest image generation model, Nano Banana Pro, so we can handle and process all user generations with a good amount of security to prevent abuse. It will connect to the recent API to send emails, allowing us to follow up with customers who generated an image but haven't paid. Spoiler alert, you'll see that generating an image is extremely expensive. You'll see that tomorrow. It was starting to get pretty late. It was time for dinner. We went outside because it would allow us to take stock and discuss all the ideas we had just come up with. I saw that Shopify released a headless RDSMS model, which means we use their technology on the back end and do whatever we want on the front end.
So how did you connect it?
Both of them? Exactly, they're the ones who do it. It's a tool they made. It's great because I feel super comfortable talking tech with Marc, knowing that he managed over 500 employees at Meetic, including 150 developers. And for the record, he's a developer himself. He began his entrepreneurial journey coding interfaces on Minitel, the predecessor of computers. As you can see, when we get back, I'll work on the website design and Marc will start testing a bunch of prompts on the Nano Banana Pro model to determine the styles we'll offer. You shouldn't overdo it because paradoxically, giving people too many choices makes them hesitate more and they can give up more easily. He'll do his tests on animals he's familiar with and he knows some very famous animals. Yeah.
There's some
fiber in the steaks. It's at home.
That's because it's Jean-Pierre Rigolet? Except I double the throughput, so I have twice the bandwidth.
It's not possible.
I need this.
And even there are hospitals that don't have this, I don't know. He's not bothered about not having taken more time off. So, okay, we have the luxury of eating at a restaurant, and I think you can hold that against us during this experience. Honestly, I have no excuse except that the goal is also to enjoy this adventure. As you can see, we're just talking about work the entire time.
You're old, so you're just like us. And me?
I've already made a mock-up with the full extension.
But I didn't know that existed. It's wonderful. It's a brand that's pretty good, pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. It's easily available.
The trademark is available. The brand affects your brain like that. I didn't look at it. It'll be like that. Actually, we're still hesitating about the name of the project. Normally, I tend to think that the name of a project isn't really important. But here, since we're aiming for a premium positioning, we need the name to convey that image as well. It's important to decide soon since we'll need to register the name as a trademark.
In which class should I register a trademark for creating framed photos?
Registering a trademark allows us to protect it to prevent ill-intentioned people from competing with us by reusing our name without going into details. When you register a trademark in France, however, you have to choose classes. These are kinds of categories. Textiles, video games, online stores. We will protect our trademark in these categories. The more classes you pick, the higher the cost and the greater the chance someone in another sector is already using your name, so choose carefully. And obviously, before you file the application, you have to check that another trademark won't be able to sue you because they already have a similar name in those classes. And that also applies if it's just phonetically similar. If I start registering Adidas written like this in the textile sector, obviously Adidas will sue me. Well, anyway, that's a whole mess that Marc has to handle. But first, we still need to finally decide on the name. You need to check for existing entities beyond trademarks. When launching a project, conduct a market study to analyze competitors. Because having an idea is good, but if you want it to work, well, you have to do better than what's already out there. It's logical. Are there people doing the same thing as us, at least in France? Well, yes. So we only found one on Google, but it does exist. Honestly, I couldn't look into it any further than that. They have an affiliate system for kids, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they're on Insta 2500 for 2500, 2036, sorry.
We'll catch up on that quickly. No, but the Insta...
The Insta. It would be great if it was time to create it because we just opened the institutions that are going to be my partner. I'm not sure if my partner will be there or how many people. It's for kids.
On their site, there's really everything. You have dog jobs, you have no dogs, that's gonna be and so you got a bit lost. Actually, I don't find the brushes that nice.
You see what we can do better? Yeah?
I think we can make it less AI focused. Ideally, ChatGPT should handle it, not G, under the new name. It's okay, he doesn't have the same premium positioning as us, and another limitation is that when you order a portrait on his site, there's no preview. You don't know in advance what it's going to look like with your pet. He's the one who'll use AI to generate the portrait when ordered. We'll show a real preview instead. Time passed as we each made progress on our tasks. I'm going to show you version 1 of the site as of today, but just know that I really gave it my all on this first day, to the point of working a good part of the night. It's something I regret in hindsight because the next day I was exhausted and so much less productive than today. That taught me something. Or rather, that's what Marc taught me. The importance of sleep and exercise. You'll see soon. Let me show you where I was then. I'm still working on the landing page. It's the very first page of this site explaining the concept, demonstrating how it works, and showing customer testimonials to reassure visitors and encourage them to try a portrait with their pet. We want to get them to click on this, a call to action, a CTA. This is the button I placed throughout the landing page to give access to the site's second page, the magical generation page, which doesn't exist yet and which Marc will create. I'm still not fully convinced by the design. This really isn't finished, but the goal is to get it done on the second day. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with what we've done in one day. We've done a considerable amount of work. We've almost finished the site. Tomorrow we need to finalize the provider we're going with along with Marc, and we'll have to handle the comms. There are quite a few interesting people to contact. I have a lead that I want to show you, which is incredible. Too many things to think about, and at the same time I need to go to bed now because I think we're waking up at 7 or 8 o'clock. I'm trying to match Marc's schedule as closely as possible during this experience. Marc wakes up at 6 a.m. I went to bed at 3 a.m., so that's the end of the fun. This morning, Marc had the idea to call one of his friends, and I'm going to...
Get an Australian Shepherd. American. Yeah.
Very nice.
The same size as Thelma, but less muscular. But hey, I'm less muscular than you. I mean, really nice and all. So cute. It's great.
You're right. Actually, Marc initially wanted this friend of his named Dominique to give him photos of his dog so he could start making some first prompts with them and get the first results of what our site could do. This dog looks like this, and its name is Thelma. Well, yeah, by the way, he's a photographer, so he already takes beautiful photos of his dog. Our service probably wouldn't have been useful to him. But because entrepreneurship is also about mastering storytelling, the art of telling a story around your project, we thought it was really cool to name our company after the first dog we were going to do our tests on, Thelma, which is also a rare name and gives a very premium feel. We quickly checked for another brand with that name in the field and found none. Great. Next, we checked if the domains thelmathelma.fr or thelmathelma.com were available, but they weren't. We decided on the domain name thelmathelma.pet, but pet means it's about pets in English. It sounds techy and premium, and if the project succeeds, we can go international. But it would look like this. Basically, it will be a carousel, so the image changes, and here I made a different house style and therefore a different portrait style.
Different dog?
It's not bad. We can put it in black and white here too. Same thing, but in theory, it would be nice if... The copy isn't done yet. It's great, I would say. It's not bad, it's great. To finally bring it to life, I directly connected Thelma Pompette with what I coded last night. Honestly, I don't show you much of it, but that's mostly my mistake with the recording. Next time, we'll call in a production team. Shooting and working on the project simultaneously is tough, but Marc made great progress this morning. The brand is registered, and we've set the 8 portrait styles we'll offer. You'll discover all that after a short restaurant segment where I invite you to try the specialties of Cap Ferret. I told you we were going to mix work and everyday life.
I'm telling you, the specialties are mussels. So they're mussels cooked in a pretty rich sauce with butter, oil, and sausage meat. Yeah, it's really good, but that's really the thing. Otherwise, it's fish or, of course, oysters when you're in Cap Ferret. It's funny.
There's also grilled sausage.
Yes, it's the specialty with oysters here. It's a small grilled sausage that you eat with oysters. It's really good. It goes together very well.
At least you learned that in Cap Ferret, oysters are eaten with grilled sausage.
No, but here they're small sausages.
Ouch, it's a bit of a privileged life. We're far from the entrepreneur starting his business in his garage. Honestly, let's not kid ourselves. This kind of environment makes you want to succeed in life, right? In a few days, it's back to Paris. That's going to hurt. Another project. How ugly this thing was. The project keeps evolving. The landing page has already improved a lot. We went from this to this. I'm really starting to like it, though the logo is still missing. My graphic designer is working on it, so we might have results tonight. I'll keep refining small details to make it smoother and more detailed. Same here. I'm giving myself until tonight since we have plans tomorrow. Marc has approved the 8 portrait styles. I'll start by showing you Telma, the dog I mentioned. So we have the photo studio style, which I think could work well with the target audience we're aiming for. The Baroque style, which is more original. The animated style, maybe for children's rooms. The dog style, which is a take on the covers of Vogue magazine. If our AI detects that it's a cat, it does the same thing with Catmopolitan to parody Cosmopolitan magazine. Same here. I'm confident this style fits our audience. There's also the film photography and Aboriginal art styles. I'm discovering them with you, but they could work for decoration. They look nice. The influencer style, which is a bit more fun for those who create Instagram accounts for their pets. You probably know some of them. And finally, the pop art style for very modern and colorful living rooms. We designed each style to suit various interiors. That's why the top of the landing page features a carousel, scrolling images that display portrait styles in different living rooms, so that people understand this gift can suit any type of personality. Wait, let's go back to the first photo. That dog there, that's not just any dog. As you can see here, his name is Aito and he literally has 200,000 followers on Instagram. But what's even crazier is that actually he's Arthur's dog, who is also an extremely influential figure, very well known in the TV industry as a host, but also as the producer of the show Qui veut être mon associé. And actually, for the story, we tried to use our AI prompt on his dog because Marc knows him very well, and apparently he really liked the result because he even shared it as an Instagram post. He symbolically agreed we could use Aito as a Telma ambassador, but I'm cautious since I think he agreed as a friend. The project isn't real yet. You know, we haven't been able to show him anything yet, but as you can imagine in entrepreneurship, when you see a hint of opportunity like a door that's slightly open, you have to go for it, you have to dig in, you have to seize opportunities, you even have to spot them. Sometimes the hardest part is spotting opportunities. We're going to bet on that card later. Maybe he'll agree to make a post or an Instagram story on Aito's account if we send him a really nice portrait. That's what we call gifting. We discussed this in our first day's brainstorming session. We'll give it a try since, especially Marc, knows many people and it won't cost us much. Sending them a portrait for free if they have a pet, hoping that they might make a story about it. It also shows the power of having a network or, in this case, having the right partners. I'm still having a hard time realizing the situation. To be honest, I feel really privileged to experience this. For you too, this video must seem completely random and at the same time, so enriching. This episode is kind of a first, a test, but I really like the idea of this format. I like the idea of making a series a bit like The Agency on Netflix, where you explore the inner workings of a real estate agency in a reality TV style. I want to do something similar, but focused on entrepreneurs. The show would be called Building Public, and this is the first episode. If you like the idea, I'd love to produce more episodes in a really ambitious way with a real production company. Maybe an episode where we raise funds, an episode where we sell a company, or an episode where we invest in startups. Each time we'd do it in real conditions, following our emotions, our journey, and our day-to-day lives with a production company filming us 24/7 so nothing is missed. Filming the first episode and starting a company was tough. A lot to handle mentally. Still, it makes me excited. Maybe I'm dreaming too much. I'm not going to bother making a series if there's no demand for it, obviously, especially given the investment it requires. At any moment, this video might not work at all. That's the harsh law of YouTube, and I'm totally okay with that. If you're interested, let me know in the comments, like this video, or share it on social media. If it happens, expect 3 to 4 months between episodes. It won't impact the usual video schedule. Tomorrow, Marc will work on part 2 of the website, and I'll teach him AI coding.
I love this software.
In the meantime, I finished the entire really visual part. The logo I made thanks to the help of Luna, the graphic designer who works with me on my projects. Well, given the mood I'm in, I think it's obvious I went to bed a bit late again. Well, I said I wouldn't go to bed too late. When you're in the flow, you lose track of time. The next steps will be less visual, so the days should pass even faster. It will still be just as exciting. What advice would you give to a young person who wants to get started when you're launching a startup?
One of the ways to succeed is by being able to execute better than others, but today with AI we can assume that everyone has the same tools and the same ability to execute. The advantage of executing very well is leveling out, and you can tell yourself that when you launch, there are 50 other people who will launch the same project with the same tools. It's not always in execution where you'll make a difference, and that's entirely new. In the months or maybe years to come, but probably the coming months, execution ability will no longer be one of the cardinal values of entrepreneurship, and you'll need to know how to execute with AI, and that's a whole different world. So don't listen to the old advice. It's outdated.
If there's one huge wave coming straight at all of us and radically changing the way we work, it's AI. Whether you like it or not, it's still a paradigm shift. That hasn't stopped us from using it frequently so far, including to create the portrait photos for our site, even though we haven't received them yet. We've chosen a provider and know how it will look. I'll show you soon. But if there's one area where it's allowed us to go 20 times faster, it's coding. When we code with AI, we say we're vibe coding. It's an extremely powerful tool, but I like to remind everyone, only if you know how to use it well. If you start vibe coding haphazardly without any development knowledge, chances are you're opening the door to security vulnerabilities. That's obviously something we can't allow on an e-commerce site. For the next 45 seconds, you'll see how I showed Marc how to code using best practices. And the final test is that, in the end, he's in charge of creating the last missing part of the site. The form that will allow you to generate portraits, and that will appear when you click on this button. The first thing you're going to install is the site. After that, the only software you'll need is Cursor, which will automatically install everything else. Cursor, their added value is bringing together all the AIs for coding into a single interface, right? You see, basically, here are all the changes I've made, okay? This is my change history. Basically, here you add a comment, okay? And you do what's called a commit. Next, push the commit to the server. The myth is that it's a version. That's it. I need to call the
logos of the, I don't recognize it. Wait, you've installed more software for me in 5 minutes than in the last 5 years.
It's an advanced editor that highlights for you.
Yeah, that's it. It helps you. It's a thing with kids today that we don't have a sense of effort, you know? Everything was in black and white for us, but we'd comment on every line and check how it was built inside.
But you know, there are a lot of vibe coders who don't know anything, who are just lazy.
They won't even understand the code.
They didn't even look inside.
It's crazy. Damn, they have all the AIs that exist and they update them.
Yeah, it updates. Damn.
It wasn't that one?
That's for sure. It's this one. Okay.
So it's like talking to a developer.
That's right.
You can do your design right there and include everything.
It handles everything.
I love this software.
I love that moment. When you think that Marc started coding on the very first computers where the code was done by hand and looked like this, you can see that things are evolving very quickly.
The terminal. I love terminals.
It's incredible.
That's where you enter commands.
People usually hate that, but I love it. Plus, I type fast. If you want the full sequence, let us know and we'll post it on my secondary channel, Iwenito. On my account, after a few weeks, just enough time to do a bit of editing on it. It lasted many hours, but it still allowed us to create what I was telling you about, the missing piece of the puzzle, this page. I also handled the entire backend to support the interface and enable generations. As you can see, I handled the entire process from start to finish. Interestingly, we're asking for the animal's first name, which is optional and used only at the end. As a side note, we noticed that 95% of people enter the first name. I guess it creates an even stronger feeling of personalization. Then, generation takes about 45 seconds. We have a system to handle hundreds or thousands of sessions simultaneously and are prepared for major publicity spikes. Now, here's a quick trick. We show the person a blurred portrait and invite them to log in to see it. As you might guess, we want to get the person's email. That way we can follow up if they haven't paid. And to make it quick so we don't lose too many people at this step, you can log in with just 2 clicks using your Google account. Then you get to this page, the preview page. That's our big advantage on Telma. I'm pretty happy with the result. You can preview the portrait in a living room or view it full size. You can personalize it, change or remove the frame, add or remove a mat, and even sign it with your pet's name. We're being a bit bold offering so many options without a supplier yet. Hopefully we'll find one tomorrow. For now, the website is fully finished, which is the core of our product. Before continuing with the supplier part, I noticed that Marc was heading somewhere and I innocently followed him. That's Marc assembling a weight machine. If I'm showing you this sequence, it's because I find Marc's philosophy interesting. It's a brief aside. Through his network, Marc has met many successful people. I'm not just talking about entrepreneurs or wealthy people, but those with ambitious goals who exceeded them. I asked if there was a common piece of advice for success and he said, exercise. Because working is good, but to do quality work, to stay disciplined, to feel motivated, there's nothing better than exercising. Paradoxically, at least for me, that's the first thing I neglect. I'm the first one to make excuses like, no, I have too much work, I don't have time to exercise. And that's something that really resonated with me when I saw all this, when I saw Marc's daily life. He's obsessed with sticking to his workout schedule and maintaining a regular sleep routine. Anyway, back to the project. By then, our website was ready and we'd found a supplier. He's a real gem. Working with him comes with 3 huge advantages. First, this supplier is very modern, and so he has an API. We can link him to our site to automatically send orders, and he'll handle printing and logistics. It's great. We'll mainly just focus on marketing. Next, he's a white label supplier. Basically, that means his name won't appear anywhere. He even allows us to include our logo in the order, as if we were our own factory. Basically, our client will receive their package. On the back of the portrait, there will be a sticker with our brand, and in the box, there will also be a postcard thanking them and giving them a promo code to encourage them to order again. That's really important for us to strengthen our brand image. By the way, since we're aiming for a premium brand image, we naturally wanted to offer the best quality product possible. Bingo! We really have the best possible print quality. Apparently, it's the same quality as art galleries, giclée printing on fine art paper. The frames are also high quality, ready to be hung. This all costs more than usual, but that's not an issue. Remember, our target isn't the young person who uses AI, prints their own work, and buys a frame at IKEA. We're targeting older, wealthier people seeking real interior decoration. We won't just trust the supplier. I placed an actual order on our site since it's already connected. Due to time constraints, I chose express delivery, so we should get it by day 8. That will allow us to have the product we're selling in our hands. I can't wait to show it to you. Before we can make our first sales and start working on the marketing part, we first had to tackle the pricing. Determine how much a portrait costs us and how much we want to resell it for. Do you think it's still possible to start a business in France? Well, listen.
There's always the glass half full and the glass half empty. Yes, France is a nightmare. Yes, it's the most taxed country in the world. Yes, the labor code is unreadable. Yes, URSAF is a pain. Yes, there are all these problems. On the other hand, what's an entrepreneur? It's someone who sees a problem and doesn't just see the problem, but the opportunity. So, in a country where there are lots of problems, there are also lots of opportunities.
Time passes quickly since this process takes longer than I show in the video. Now with 4 days left, we're staying motivated and giving our all, even though it's only been 4 days. This afternoon, we're going to get some fresh air again on the shores of Cap Ferret, and that's kind of our motivation for the day. Marc spent the morning working out our pricing structure. Pause if you're interested. Basically, what you need to remember is that the complexity of our model comes from the fact that we have a lot of different prices because our product is customizable. There are 3 different sizes. There's the option to have a frame or not, and the option to add a mat or not. That creates a lot of combinations and therefore a lot of possible prices. And as you've seen with our prices, the goal to be profitable is to achieve a margin between 50 and 70 and to get a price that still feels right if someone wanted to give a nice gift. That's why it starts at 18 euros if you only choose the print, delivery included, and it goes up to 115 euros for the large size portraits. It may seem like high margins, but you have to consider our hosting, Shopify subscriptions, and image generation costs, which can total hundreds of euros monthly. It costs 15 cents to generate an image, and especially the marketing costs, the ads will run later on Facebook, or even the collaborations we might manage to do. If we don't perform well enough, we can quickly go out of business. And anyway, we'll see based on the sales we make if we need to lower or raise our prices. That being said, we took the car. We're taking a break to ride and explore Cap Ferret's beautiful landscapes. For me, these moments feel like team building. Honestly, we're strengthening our bond with Marc. We've only been partners or really known each other for 4 days. There are always many chances to share and discuss. I'm trying to fully enjoy the adventure and learn as much as possible from his experience. So, there is definitely a big topic and even the last topic that's gradually revealing itself to us. The one that's going to allow us to make sales, marketing. We absolutely have to start getting people to talk about our project, do some communication, that's the final step, but before that, there's definitely a question I'm asking myself. If we start a successful company, what comes next? How do you accelerate growth after making money?
First, you need to know what it means to have a company that works. Basically, you've finished everything, the product is ready to sell, you can start making money. That means you're already generating money. Okay? So, the question now is whether you have a business model or not. If you buy an item for 20 euros to sell it to customers who cost you 35 euros, you're losing money, you're burning cash. That doesn't mean it doesn't work, because maybe if you spend more money to acquire more customers, the cost per customer will go from 35 euros to 15 euros. So, are you going to spend a lot of money to lower your acquisition costs? Or on the contrary, does the price elasticity mean that the more customers you want, the more expensive they become? Because at first, you have customers who really need your product, but later, you'll be targeting people who don't really need your product. So if you find yourself in a situation where, in order to grow, the cost of acquiring a customer just keeps going up, your model doesn't work unless you raise the price of your product or unless you sell several products. What is a business model? It's a customer. How much did it cost me to bring in a customer? What is the margin I make on it? How many products am I going to sell to the customer? So the value you need to look at is the lifetime value. How much will your customer leave you over their lifetime?
Okay, we won't get rich from a company made in a week, especially without any market research. There might not even be a market. It might flop, and we're fine with that. I wanted to show in this video everything that can happen in a company from start to finish. Once a company works and its concept is proven, the next topic is raising funds. And that's actually what happens on the show Who Will Be My Partner. We see projects coming in that raise money by giving shares of their company to an investor in exchange, like Marc, for example.
If you raise money to try to fly a plane that has wings that are too small, no matter how much fuel and kerosene you buy, the plane will never fly. Now, if you need to raise money to buy kerosene to get a plane off the ground that's very slow to take off because it's very heavy, but it has wings big enough to make it fly, then you'll be buying kerosene for a long time until your plane finally takes off. Amazon. Our job at Daphne is to provide kerosene to people we're sure have the right plane. Daphne is an investment fund that finances companies that have already started, that have already proven they have a business model, and often that have already raised money. That means we're not supposed to invest in the first rounds. So raising funds will depend on your profile, your type of project, the strength of your business model, and the originality of your idea.
Marc is now an investor and invests in companies through his fund Daphne. I'll add the Daphne link in the description. If you're seeking funding or support for a project, I highly recommend them. As I mentioned, they're the reason I'm here. They've invested in well-known companies like Shine, Swile, and Backmarket, showing their experience. As Marc explained, raising funds isn't always necessary and can sometimes be better to avoid.
When I created Meetic, I had 700,000 euros to build Meetic. And I said, when I run out of money, I'm going to make Meetic a paid service. So Meetic was free until the day I didn't have a cent left. And so I said, now you have to pay. Since I got a bit scared afterwards, I said I would raise some money to be safe. And at the time I raised 3 million euros by giving up 20% of my company. When I sold Meetic, that 20% was worth 100 million euros.
Yeah, the investor.
So I gave up part of my company for 3 million euros while losing 100 million euros.
10 years later, but I didn't use those 3 million.
No, I didn't use it.
Yes, no, but it lost money. It was a mistake.
That's a huge mistake.
I couldn't have known. It wasn't a productive day. If we had fun today, it's because I lied to you a bit about something. I could only stay 6 days at Marc's. We're still not done. We need to handle all the marketing for Telma to attract people. Yesterday was my last day. I returned to my studio in Paris. Good news! I received the portrait I ordered from my supplier and am unpacking the very first Telma portrait now. I haven't seen it yet, so we're discovering it together. The quality looks good so far. Okay, I love it. Wow, it's becoming real. No, it's so good. I love it. It's so well done with the matte and everything. No, it's so cool. I'm really pleasantly surprised. It looks amazing. Honestly, I'm so happy. We just made all this work with Marc a reality. I can't wait for people to actually receive it at home. If it works, great. Who knows, it might flop. We didn't do market research, but I'm happy. Looking forward to seeing the results. By the way, this dog is Mikey. That's the dog Marc adopted, making it even more symbolic. It'll be a great memory for him. Meanwhile, we stayed in constant contact with Marc to finish the project. We each had our own to-do list to finish, which felt strange to me. I'm messaging Marc with his to-do list, thinking, who am I to do that? With Narim as the graphic designer, we worked on a whole bunch of ads that we could run to our target audience on Facebook and Instagram. We think those are the best social networks to reach people who might buy. Again, without giving you a full lesson. You can create an ad campaign and define different angles within it. For example, these ads use the decor angle to show our product as great living room decor, while others use the gift angle to promote it as a great gift idea. If you have someone close to you who has a pet, in this one, it's the more modern tech angle. We highlight the fact that we've developed cutting-edge AI. Here, we're targeting more geeky people. And yeah, no, I don't really own up to that one. I don't really own up to that one. Then we have the memory angle. When someone has lost their companion, we highlight that from an old photo of their pet. You can get a timeless keepsake of them. I don't know how morally acceptable that one is, but at the same time, it's a possible use case. The campaign is launched. You can guess which angle will get the most clicks. I'll reveal it at the end. In the meantime, Marc and I announced Telma across our networks. All this buzz has led to hundreds of portraits generated on the site. The terms of use prevent me from showing you the real photos people submit. I'll still show you a preview of all the animal names that are being tested, but there are people testing animals we never would have imagined. For example, these are Tim and Matteo, 2 parrots, quite a few portraits of horses. We've had iguanas, fish, Well, after that, obviously, 98% are still dogs and cats. As for the results on the ads, I'll show you a little table of the number of clicks on each angle we've tested. All these clicks correspond to 500 euros invested so far. 500 euros is still nothing. The campaign is still running. This one is just getting started. It takes time for the algorithm to understand our product and our target audience. I was expecting to get quite a few haters with this product on social media, but look at how the posts are performing. Well, there are actually quite a lot of likes in the end. I think we're starting to find our target audience. Finally, to wrap up the marketing part, as I promised, we've started reaching out to quite a few well-known personalities in our network to send them a portrait for free and hope that they'll kindly agree to make a story to talk about Telma. Naturally, I thought of Fuse with his dog Doug and Marc, whom we mentioned earlier. I also thought of Arthur and his dog Ato, but we've reached out to even more people. I can't show you everything yet out of respect because we haven't received any responses yet. The project is finished. The marketing has started slowly but surely. Well, two important things. First, of course, I'll put the link to Telma in the description. I don't have any results to share with you yet. Like whether we've made a lot of sales or not. To make it interesting, I'm waiting for this video to come out and to see how the ads perform. I'll give you feedback in 30 days on Discord and in a YouTube community post. We'll see if it succeeds or flops. If it flops, we'll pivot and change the concept in episode 2. And the second important point is that we're looking for a partner, a third person, someone who wants to take on this Telma project with us. Naturally, with my YouTube channel, I won't be able to maintain this project myself. If you want to join Marc and me on this mini adventure, feel free to email us. I'll include the address in the description. I hope you enjoyed this new format. Let me know through likes, subscriptions, or comments. Your support will determine if we can make an even better episode 2. This was Marc and Ewan. Kisses, Joanne.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Nicholas. I hope you're doing well. Nicholas, you're a great guy, but you never give up. So it's annoying, it's exhausting, but it was really nice learning to listen to you. We worked hard, we thought a lot, we laughed a lot. I struggled quite a bit too. But I hope you'll like the result, or that you already liked it if you've already seen it. In any case, I'm up for a season 2 if we had to find a new idea to keep this great project going. Bye, everyone.